Hey, we're Jess.
And Aaron.
Just two normal moms and saved women who love Jesus, deep conversations, and a good laugh.
On Well Within Her, we talk about the hard, the holy, and the hilarious parts of being a woman in today's world.
This is just your space to exhale, to stop striving and start living aligned with the truth.
Because the truth is, when Christ is within her, she already has everything she needs.
We're so glad you're here. Hit subscribe and come hang out with us every week.
Hi. Welcome back, everyone, to the Well Within Her podcast. We are super happy you're here today, and
we're filming a disclaimer.
Yes, there's a disclaimer to the episode that you're about to listen to. And if you've been listening, we try a kind of a benchmark to this podcast is talking about the real, the vulnerable, the authenticity to being a mom, to Jesus, to all of those things. And so we wanted to come on here and say a couple of things, one of which, thank you. And two, the episode that you're about to listen to has some added sound to it
Some smooth jazz that was not intended to be there.
Was not meant to be there. The studio in which we record, our very awesome friend.
Just a snafu that we didn't know to check for.
That we're learning. This is podcasting is not something that is new. That is something that we are seasoned in.
Yeah.
We are very, very in the early stages, and basically we didn't pick up the headphones and listen that there may be music playing in the background.
Right.
And that being said, the episode that we are about to listen to has the music, and we wanted to tell you that because
you'll get used to it. I mean, it's not
miserable. Like we've got System of a Down in the background.
Yeah.
It's like, just some background music, and you do get used to it. Mm-hmm. Why we're keeping it was, so we batch record. So the day that we recorded this episode, we had already been in the studio for a couple of hours at that point. And this episode, we were not meant to record that day.
The episode we were going to record, I said, I'm not feeling this one today. I don't feel like I have much to say on this topic. Mm-hmm. And can we pick a different one?
Yeah.
And so we have a list of like 50 different ideas. And so we settled on this idea.
Yeah.
And, reviewed the scripture and talked about that, and then just hit record with
really
no outline.
No,
at
we
all.
really did not have much. Like, I think I only have like a couple of points written down. Like, it was not we were probably the least prepared for this episode. And it turned out amazing. Mm-hmm. It turned out Jess had several vulnerability points through it. I actually made her cry at one point. And we did not feel that we could achieve that same authenticity and vulnerability if we re-recorded it and from its original format. And so we wanted to put that out to everyone because we felt it was very good, even with the music in the background. And I think you could see struggles happen, support happen, friendship happen that I think it would have been maybe more forced because it happened so organically the first time. And so this is that disclaimer. Ignore the smooth jazz.
Sympathy criers beware. I mean, that's all I have to say.
It's going to happen.
It's about to get real.
Yes. But thank you for that. We just wanted to let everybody know that it does sound a little bit differently, but we think what you're going to hear and see is worth it.
So enjoy.
Thanks, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
We're just rolling.
Yeah, we are.
I think I said that exact same thing last time. I'm so bored.
But we are. I mean,
We've had a lot of good things to talk about.
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting is each time we're talking, we're like, well, now we need to do an episode about this. Or now we need to do an episode about that.
We need to
write that down. Yeah. Luckily, I've re-listened to these things and I listen them back. So
it brings it back to it. But we do need to add that one.
But today we wanted to talk about how you're not behind. You're becoming who God wants you to be. And how there are seasons of waiting in life. And I feel like Aaron and I very much so feel this a lot right now in the seasons that we're in. And understanding that every season has a purpose. And just because something's not going your way doesn't mean there's not purpose in that timing. And so to start, I guess, can you think of anything in your life that felt like a time where nothing was happening, and then looking back, you're like, oh, well, that's why things were going slow or whatever?
Oh yeah, for sure. Outside of my current season of unknown and waiting with my current job. So 2 years ago, year and a half, almost 2 years ago in January, I became the special needs coordinator at our church. I sat with our family pastor, created, developed, started a special needs ministry at our church, which has been a phenomenal blessing. And so that's been almost 2 years ago in January when I started. However, to get there, that was almost a 3-year process.
Wow.
That most people don't understand until like I tell it. And in when I was in that season, I felt like what's happening? What's the point? So let me back up a little bit. So pre-COVID, our church had announced they were going to start a special needs ministry. And I had, I felt God calling me to be a part of that. So I had actually said, yes, I would like to be, a part of the beginning steps, that type of thing. And our first meeting for the ministry was supposed to be the week the world shut down.
Oh, wow.
So March 13th-ish, that week was when we were going to have like our first meeting. Clearly that didn't happen. And so we go, I got to get my years right. So that was 2020. We didn't have Summer Explosion that year. I don't think we had Summer Explosion until 2021. Again, if not 2022. And so the 2 years, and they're like, at that point, I hadn't, again, you didn't see anybody.
Right.
You didn't see anybody. And so I remember, I think at that point, like God had started to say something to me and talking about the special needs ministry of like reaching out to someone as to see where it was. Cause it basically was like to me, it was like dead in the water. Something happened. We decided to pivot. COVID, everybody had to pivot, whatever. So leading up to Summer Explosion, which is our church's like VBS, I feel like God had said, ask somebody, talk about it, somebody, blah, 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 blah. And our family pastor, our now family pastor, I think she was the children's pastor at the time, was coming out of the building. I was literally walking into the building to drop my kids off for VBS. And I said to her, hey, what happened with the special needs ministry? I was going to volunteer for it. Just what happened, where to go? I mean, again, we just lost the last 2 years of our lives, like where, and, she kind of explained it to me, like what had happened. And that's when they started the preschool. And she's like, we just needed to pivot and realize that this isn't really what we should have been doing at that time. And she's like, why do you ask? And I was like, I just, I think at that point in time, like she knew what I did at that time. I was a pediatric PT, and she was like, well, let me think about this a little bit. Let's talk about this. And so later that summer, I had met with her and just talked about like initially what the initial plans were for the special needs ministry, and that now that she was in charge of the preschool and really didn't feel like this is like where she was kind of being called to, and that it's still something that they wanted to do within our church, but not where they were currently. And so at that point in time, I was working full-time at the job that I worked at a school for kids, exclusively for kids with special needs. I was overseeing the entire rehab department. And so, we talked and they're like, is this something that you would be interested in? Is this something you wouldn't be interested in doing? And at that time, my youngest, I think, was 3. And I was just like, I don't think I can. Like, I couldn't leave that job. I couldn't add hours because this would be a, 10 to 15 hours a week on top of a full-time job. Like, I would have to leave the current job that I am within to accomplish this. So, I met with them a couple of times and just said, I just can't yet. It's not a no, it's just a not yet. And I feel like I got a very profound moment multiple times, but a very profound from God to say, wait, not yet. And, I was rationalizing at that point in time. I actually had another PRN job that I was working at in a pediatric clinic. And I was like, okay, well, what if I left my full-time job and worked PRN or part-time for them? Could I make them work? And I just got this heavy, like, no, this is not what you're meant to do. Just wait. Anybody who knows me, I'm not a super patient person.
Yeah.
I have a pretty strong, like, one, I'm stubborn, and two, like, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it, and I don't wait well.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know a lot of people who do.
No, that's definitely not me either. I'm not a waiter.
It was not a good season. I can still very strongly look back on it and being like, what is happening? I have this unrest in me because I knew this was stirring in me. I feel like I was like, okay, God, why did you put this on me if you didn't have a plan of where I was supposed to go or making that plan clear to me yet? And I just like, I wrestled with a lot. I was like, okay, am I not supposed to do this? Is this not what's supposed to be happening? Are these thoughts? Because then it really made me question my discernment. Like, okay, is these thoughts of me that I put into me that now I was like, you know what? All these things. So it was just wait. I just was very much waiting. And so I told, our child director our child pastor at the time, I said, this is just not a no. And actually they ultimately like moved on to somebody else to start the ministry. And they told me that they're like, hey, we think we're feeling like this is a ministry that we want to get started. We are, we're pursuing somebody else. Hope you understand. I'm like, absolutely. Like how, if any way that I can help in this, I'm just not there yet. And so go into the fall, I hear that potentially it's starting, it's not. Go into the spring of 2023, must have been.
Yeah.
And so in that time when I was working at the school, the kids overseeing the rehab department, and one of my speech pathologists quit in the middle of the school year, and I could not find a replacement. I could not hire a replacement. So we ended up having to like bring in a contracting agency into the school to cover, because with kids who carry IEP plans, you're mandated by law to meet those therapeutic minutes. And so we were like really cutting down to the end of the school year. Like if these kids, like it sets you up for potential lawsuits, all these things. Like it gets really ugly if a kid's not getting their IEP minutes. And we're not providing a service that this child is required by law. So we contracted in a pediatric therapeutic agency to cover these speech minutes. And the owner of that business, this was the first time her and I met, and her and I clicked immediately. And I still have this heaviness with me. I still have this of like, how am I supposed to make this work? I know that there's just unrest within me. And she approached me and said, she was like, hey, I have an opportunity for me. We're looking to expand this sector of the business. I currently can't do it. You're already doing certain sections of this. Would this be of interest to you? And I was like, initially I was like, no.
Yeah.
No, this is going to take a leap. This is going to take a lot of faith, but it gave me the opportunity to stop working my full-time job. That then I was like, okay. So actually I met with the children's director again. She God bless her. She honestly, she continued on the attack. And so found out later that the person that they originally had brought in after me, it didn't work out personnel wise. And so they still needed somebody for the ministry. And she was like, we still feel like you are the person for this. And I was like, okay. So it's actually, my husband and I had an out of town wedding over the weekend that summer. And it was like a 2.5 hour drive. That was just he and I, no kids. And we just mapped it out, talked it out, did all, is this logistically possible? Is this financially possible? Is this, if I go work X amount of hours for this therapeutic company, pick up the rest with church, is this possible? The answer? Is this possible? And at the end of that car ride, we both we said yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And the weight that honestly, that immediately levitated for me and saying, just coming to that decision and saying, yes, this is it. This is what the wait has been.
Yeah.
That I had to meet this person. So that's what, like, that was the wait. I had to meet her. I had to be offered this job. I had to, all of these things. And again, when I was in it, it didn't, obviously it didn't make sense. But now that I've been able to take that lens out view of like, this was a 3-year process that God moved all of these pieces. And I had to wait. I had to wait. I had to just sit in that unrest feeling, which is not comfortable, and just have faith. And since then, I've had the amazing opportunity. So started the ministry, have built it. I have an amazing team. We are currently serving, 6 to 7 families in our area. We just got a new child that we're serving that came from a very large area that's local to us, or that's far enough away that there's actually other churches, but had started hearing about our ministry and brought
that's amazing.
him. Yeah. And so but in that moment, it was very unwell, but now I can absolutely say, in that waiting, in those seasons of just unrest, God moved, and there's no other explanation as to how that happened for sure.
Now I'm just thinking of the one conversation we had though about where we're currently at.
Yeah.
And you were like, no, God, I already did this.
I already leaped once.
I leaped.
Mm-hmm.
That was my struggle, and now I'm on this side. Like, what are you doing?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's interesting. So it's like you have this context of like this amazing plan that played out to get you to this beautiful spot where you're able to serve these families that really need support.
Right.
And like can come to church and know Jesus in a comfortable way. And then he thrusts you into
another change,
and you're kind of like, what the heck? Like, I already did my faith jump.
I was a faithful servant. Don't make me do it again. But that's
so can you apply the beautifulness of that first story to like,
yes,
I don't understand what's happening now,
yes,
but something beautiful will come out of it?
Yes, I that's a great question, and I can say I am handling this unrest and this season of unknowing so much better than I did the first time.
Right.
And God made me build muscles. I now have a greater endurance for it. Is it still uncomfortable? Yes.
Yeah.
But I can say wholeheartedly that I can see, I don't know where the ultimate plan is going. Couldn't tell you. But I can see through all of it in the waiting, the joy that I'm supposed to have right now. And I didn't see that the last time. Like, when I didn't get a job that I had interviewed and spent months devoting to, that was a solid door closing. I was devastated, but at the same time, I was able, in my maturity, I would say, in my faith, to say, okay, this wasn't your plan then.
Yeah.
Which I didn't have that scope the last time. And so I feel I am much better enduranced for this. Is it, like I said, is it still comfortable? No.
Right.
Am I still going kicking and screaming? Yeah. Probably less of a decibel. I'm having probably like a more like 9 to 10-year-old temper tantrum over it, not a 2 to 3-year-old temper tantrum over it that I'm like outrightly just flipping out like I did the last time.
Right.
And so this is very much, I'm uncomfortable, but it's making me use muscles that I already have. And that is sitting better. And it's also forcing me, like, I think God last time literally had to put the hard stop. Like, this is it. This is whatever. Now in my faith, I can say that, like, okay, God, where do you want me? It's becoming that, I don't want to say subservient, because it's not, you're choosing that he is your, your creator, and he you're giving your life to him. Now I am not as reactionary to difficult situations and the call anymore as I once was, and being like, well, this sucks, but okay. As previously, I wrestled a lot previously as to my unwillingness to do it. And now it's like, all right, God, here we go.
Right. I think it's interesting, like what you said about is this my discernment or not? Because I just recently had a freak out about going back to business on my own and worrying like, am I going to have clients? And, you know, I have a certain goal in mind that I want to meet for a number of clients by mid-October. And like, is that going to happen? And questioning it all. And so I applied for this PRN position, interviewed for it, got offered the job. And I was like, Joe, this doesn't feel right. Like this it feels like I'm forcing something that doesn't need to be forced. And it feels like I'm giving over this time every week to something I'm not being called to.
Sure.
And in that moment, I'm like, is it because I just don't want to work? Like, am I being lazy? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I want to work, but I want to do my client. I want to do client work. I want to work in this scope where I'm really effective and confident. And this other PRN position would have been something that's not at all what I do counseling wise. And I was like, you know, if it was a part-time or like a replacement 3-month contract, which I have done contract work before like that, I feel like I told him I would step right into it. And I would be like, yeah, till the end of the year. Absolutely. This is a great thing to just kind of like, you know, keep some income coming. Like, it's great. But this was a permanent thing. And I'm like, I don't want to start knowing that I'm leaving this job in the new year because I don't want to do this forever.
Right.
And so I was like, you know what? Maybe that's my answer. And God bless my husband is the most supportive person. And he was like, okay, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to email them and offer them up like a contract basis of like, just be super straightforward and honest that I'm building my practice and I don't see myself being there longer than 3 months. And like, would being there through the end of the year help them? And if not, that's fine.
Right.
But I just wanted to be really upfront.
Yeah.
And they got back to me and said like, we've thought about it and like, that doesn't work out for us.
Sure.
So it's like, I turned down this job. It was just, you know, 1 day a week, but you know, I felt really good about it. Like I felt like I was doing the right thing and I wasn't, I'm somebody who forces things.
Sure.
Like you, I'm not patient.
Yeah.
Let's just make it work. And that's gotten me not to the best places in the past where it's like, then I'm miserable or something. Right. And so that brings me comfort that you kind of have grappled with that too.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's a reason why it felt not right.
Right. And that's exactly it. And it, you know, thinking of like the, discernment of what is God's plan. And like you said, like even when I was thinking of, even in this current season or even in the previous season of when church initially approached me, like I could have made it work. Would I have been miserable? Sure.
Yeah.
Even in this current season of not, you know, over the summer of, you know, the contract ending, and I could have found another PT job. Would I have been miserable? Sure.
Right.
Was that where I was going to be best suited and best used? No. And having to sit in that, it's really learning to sit in that uncomfortable feeling and having the faith to say, okay, God, let your will be done. And that is hard.
It is really hard. And at the same time, I feel like I get these glimpses of like the reasons why I said no too. Like my daughter has like a random 3 days off in October because of a teacher conference that they're all going to. There's another random Friday in October that she's off because of a field trip. And there's just times where it's like, I can't have a job that I am not in control of my hours right now.
Yep.
it's too chaotic, and I will always be the person to put my family first. Like,
same.
My last job, I originally signed a contract that I was going to be 5 days a week because I thought I could do it. And then I was like, I miss my kids.
Yeah. I
can't. And so, the CEO of that company was really understanding each time that I came to her and said, like, we either need to change it or I'm walking.
Yeah.
I'm blessed that I could go in with that confidence based on the life that my husband helps provide for me. But I went down to 4 days a week, and then there came a time something happened with childcare and I had to drop down to 3 days a week. And that was like, this is my sweet spot where I can be there for my family and I can also, work and still, because I do genuinely love helping people. I love my job.
Right.
It's just like, I will never choose my job over my kids and my husband. Like, it's just not going to happen. And that's one thing. When I left that job, a couple of my coworkers who reached out, they had consulted me over the years of like, how do I bring this up with them?
Sure.
And I was like, just be upfront and honest. Like, this is your boundary and you can't go past it and you're getting burnt out. They'll understand. And if they don't, that's a conversation you guys need to have. But I've always had a positive experience. And that was the thing that they were like, you're so strong in holding your boundaries. And I don't know where that comes from, but I'm just like, really, no, I'm not sacrificing my family for money. I am, which then it's funny because I struggle with like, but I want to contribute financially.
Sure.
So it's this like weird dynamic.
Yes. But the interesting dynamic of that is hard.
But yeah, so the waiting season that I'm in right now, I feel like I've not experienced before, because I've always, like, when I first started my business a couple years ago, like I had a list. I carried 12 clients like all the time. This was like me going from like 0.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of nervous, but I hope to one day look back at this podcast episode and be like, look at you acting on faith and just walking in the direction you're being called.
Right.
Knowing that like we don't have all the answers and we never will.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think it's important, one, that you are like, you answered that call to be present to your family, because this goes back to, again, we were called to be parents, we were called to be mothers, and the importance of present parents. And I think you're going to be great. I think you're going to be more than fine. I think you're going to be turning people down.
You're going to make me cry. Stop it. I'm sowed with doubt right now. So,
well, then let's talk about the Bible verse that we're going to talk about today, because
you're going to have to read it.
Because maybe we need to,
Hey, this is you had a come to Jesus moment about your sleep habits.
I did. So then maybe this is your come to Jesus, and maybe because, and this is me and I should have been better about asking as to where you're feeling in this situation. And I did not know that you were as uneasy, which is fair, going into this, but again,
stop.
Remember. So doubt your doubts.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about Ecclesiastes. Can I have my tissues from the other side?
Sure. Yeah, no, they're on your side. I will hand you your snotty tissues, though.
It's a watering pot. What can I say? Okay. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end." So this verse, I have some notes here, sits inside in Ecclesiastes 3, the whole passage. They're describing the rhythms and seasons of life. There's a time to be born and a time to die, plant and uproot, and how the teacher in this is reflecting on how life is always full of these cycles, and many of them are beyond our control. So the bigger picture is really like, first, God's sovereignty over our lives and all seasons that we are going through.
Yes. Again, God is true, God is good, and God is faithful.
He would not have brought you to this point.
It's going to be a bunch of staring at each other with tears, trying not to well out of our eyes. I really didn't expect this. I really didn't expect this today, everybody.
We weren't even going to do this today.
No, we were going to stop. No, I think that this needed to be discussed. Obviously, I needed to talk about my life here.
Yeah.
But I think it's okay, too, to like show people that I, believe in God. Jesus is my Lord and Savior. And you can still cry and struggle.
Absolutely.
And
you can still be afraid. You can still be scared.
Yeah.
You can still fear the unknown and what you're going through at this current time.
Yeah.
That they don't have to be mutually exclusive. They're not mutually exclusive. And God does not promise us life without struggles. He does not promise us life without difficulties. He actually promises I promise that it's going to happen.
Right.
It's going to be difficult. This is where our endurance is built. This is where our faith is built, and that we can come through these things. And sometimes it's not the outcome in which we initially thought.
Right.
But if you look at it, you can't deny the plan in the same breath. Like, oh, is that where I thought I was going to end up? No. Did I think that the contract that made me leave my full-time job was going to stop? But was that the job that got me to be able to work for church? Sure did.
Right.
Is your childcare ending and the multiple God moments that brought you to you ending your previous employment with your employer, and you, again, stepping out on faith to say, this is what God has put on my heart to be a present mom, and how then I can still use my gifts to help people. And this is the best way for that.
Right. I feel like I just got to like chill all summer because I knew I couldn't do anything with the kids around. And so now they're back in school.
Yes.
And our trip is over. And it's like, all right, now
here it is.
And I planned for that, right? Like it's always been in the plan that like, okay, and now is when I was going to have time to do these things.
Yeah.
So I knew this was coming, and it's still kind of a bit hard to deal with.
It's still very
if I'm
hard.
being honest.
It's still very hard.
Right. So.
And it's okay to say that it's hard.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have doubts. It's okay to be scared.
Right. Yeah.
It's okay to cry about it.
It
and
is.
Be like, God, I don't know.
One of my friends listening to this right now better text me and tell me that they started crying too.
You emotional support criers, we know who you are.
I know.
We know who you
I know,
are.
You know who you are. You need to text me. So to apply the scripture, there were 3 things that we had kind of talked about with. One, like just that I do think it's comforting to hear these scriptures and to know that like this is struggles like this have gone on for eternity, like forever. God put them here for a reason.
Correct.
But that life seasons are not wasted. So even these hard ones where we're sitting and waiting, or maybe if someone's going through not a waiting period necessarily, but like some sort of trauma
just
or like a grief a grief period, that it's not a wasted time.
No,
there's growth that's happening for some reason. And I think like when you're in a certain season, like the platitude of that can be lost, and it's like now's not the time to tell me that.
Right. No.
But when I'm in this waiting season, now is absolutely the time to tell me that like there's a purpose.
There's a plan.
And what did I say from the beginning? There was a purpose in the pause, was like my whole theme for the summer.
That was the whole theme. There is.
Right.
There, and even still, like there has been.
Yeah.
Like you can't tell me this entire summer there wasn't a purpose in what happened.
Right.
So there already has been the purpose of it. Just keep going. And
Right.
sometimes that is really hard. But they're, finding, like, again, like I feel like we have said, like, I feel like there's consistent themes that we are constantly saying no matter what we're talking about, is pray about it. And He's never left. He's been here the whole time, and he will be with you the whole time. And give that worry, give it to Jesus, and being like, okay, this sucks. I'm gonna do it.
Right.
And this unknown, and it's that control. It's all of those things that we've talked,
I know. Gosh, I just want to have control.
It's all, and it is. It's the control. It's the control that, yes, you know that you've got 12 clients waiting in your inbox. Like, it's that control of,
acting on faith instead of.
Exactly. I think back to this summer where I was freaking out about money. I've been busier this summer with shirt orders than I have been the entire time it's been happening.
Yeah.
Those are God moments.
Mm-hmm.
You still have your one client that you've been seeing. You got approval from one of our big major insurance agencies that took forever to go back and forth with. So sometimes it's just that perspective, and it's hard. It's very hard.
It is. I have had 2 people reach out since UPMC did finally say,
yes,
you're in network.
Yes.
So there has been positives.
There are.
And then the next point being that we have an ache for eternity because we're made for more than just this world.
And talk about the whales.
And talk about the whales.
Are you going to be able to talk about the whales?
Yeah, if I say it wrong, though, you need to correct me.
I will.
I just showed Aaron this video. We're not fancy enough with our podcasting to be able to play it and put it right here.
Well, maybe we'll. I don't know. You are the person.
I can link it.
I'll
link it in the show notes.
Yes, link it in the show notes.
So there's this wonderful reel that I found from this guy years ago, and he's talking about how he just learned how whales, for the most part, drown when they die. That's how most whales die, is that they drown. And how to him it was very interesting because they spend their whole lives in this world under the water. And there's a life source that they have to grab onto that's not in the water. They have to come up and breathe and get that oxygen before they can go back under. And there's all these other fish and things with gills. They're fine. And they don't need that oxygen. But the whale does. They're the only mammal that lives in the water. So he says they're in the water, but they're not of the water. There's something else that they need, but they cannot get there. And then he relates that to how we are in this world, but we are not of this world. And that your link to, we have a greater source that we have to get power from, that we have to get this life source from, and that's God. And it's through prayer and worship and reading the word, and that, without that life source in your life, you will die.
You will drown
in this world. And I love that so much.
It's amazing. I love it. I'd never seen that before.
Oh, I think I sent it to our pastor one time too, because I was like, this is just like, I think of that probably at least once a month.
That's fantastic.
Because I think just that total analogy of like the whale really can't survive without air, and like we really can't survive without God.
No.
I think that really is a beautiful.
It's amazing.
It was a beautiful story. He did great. That guy did a great job. I'll link it.
Yes, link it. I love it. I love the whale.
But it's so very eloquently said, and that we can't. And honestly, I don't want to.
Right.
I could not imagine doing this life without Jesus. It would be real sad.
Yeah.
And there's still sad moments.
Yeah.
We are not lacking, of the sad moments, the hard seasons, the waiting seasons, the faith-filled seasons that you can't see, the light in front of you. But there is comfort in knowing that we are not alone, because this world is sad and hard. But we have the one thing that makes it not. And highly encourage
that life source.
Okay,
and then the last point being that our job isn't to figure everything out, but to live faithfully, trusting that God does see the end from in the beginning.
Huh. I love that you are the one who read that.
Let me read that again. Our job isn't to figure everything out, but to live faithfully. Yeah. I mean, but I can know all of that, right?
It still doesn't defeat. It
still
still doesn't take the difficulty away.
Right.
It's still hard.
I think it's a very much a choice every single day to walk in that faith.
Sure. Absolutely. There's, I mean, it could be moment to moment.
Yeah.
That you're not questioning. Again, like we said, Jesus, take the wheel and keep taking it back. Like,
right.
We give it every single day. You give it every single moment. You still take it back. But it's still, it's that control like we talked about. But having the faith.
Yeah. It's just so interesting because some things I can be like I said, this podcast, I'm like, it's going to be great. It's going to work. I don't know if that's because like you're here too and it's not just a me thing and my business is just a me thing.
But I don't understand that. I don't understand that perspective either because
And when I quit my job, I was like, I'm not concerned about getting clients. Like I am a good networker.
You are.
And I will be able to find clients. And then now it's like the time has come and I'm like, oh crap. Like,
okay. I don't understand that frame of mind for you. And because of, you know, like the podcast, like you, honestly, you've had a greater disposition. This is going to be great. It has been great. I had probably more reservations, but I don't understand why you feel that just because it's just you in your business that it's not going to thrive.
It's not that I don't think it's going to thrive. I think that I'm scared for how long thriving will take. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's more accurate statement of like, how long, God, do you think you're gonna make me wait? I don't know. Can I get a little heads up or a little,
that's not how that works.
Idea, just a little nudge. That's what I think. It goes back to control and wanting to know the answers for everything. So
you could be like Abraham, like 110 before he gets like a kid.
Gosh. I mean, there's so many stories of people like
waiting
and finding like, you know, doing miraculous things when they're like 50 or something. And so I know not everything, like good things take time.
Yes,
but
they do.
I just would like a heads up for like, be prepared for 5 people, you know, I don't know, something like that. It'd be real nice.
Okay. Well, you know, that's not how God operates.
I know. This is like a very much podcasting, a lived out experience.
I love this. Like, I don't think you understand because, like, I think we haven't talked about this, but I feel like on days that we record, I feel almost a heaviness coming in because I'm like, what am I gonna say? I'm probably going to say the wrong thing. Am I supposed to say that? And then I have found on days when we record and when we leave, I feel like a lightness.
Yes.
Like I feel like this is almost therapy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sitting here talking, hanging out, chatting.
Again, it's what we would do on my front porch. It's just we let people watch.
Let people watch and listen to our shenanigans. And so, you know, that this absolutely is an outlet, and I'm not entirely sure where I was going with that. Prior to where my thought is that, like, I think sometimes episodes, I was listening to our episode that we released this morning, and talking about, gosh, that mom guilt that just eats you alive. And sometimes I'm like, you're like a really crappy mom. And it's like, no, I'm not, but does it make that situation? Like, I needed that episode because I was, you know. So I think there's a lot of times we are having these moments, and you just get to sit in this one.
Yeah.
This one's not mine. This is yours. This is yours.
It's my turn.
You get to sit into this for a little bit. That you're in that uncomfortable, but hopefully this helps.
Yeah, it does help. I mean, I do feel better.
Okay. Good.
I go back and forth, and I think I said this on another episode of like just being like, yeah, I'm super excited for my calling, God, thanks. And then at the end, like, oh, wait, this seems hard, this seems like I might not be the best fit. So you like try and give it back. And so that back and forth of things. But as I've said too, it's not about never having the thought, and it's not never having the doubt. It's like, how fast can you bounce back from the doubt? And I thank you for speaking some truth into this, even though you did make me cry for longer than I should have.
Okay, I cried with you.
I mean, that's what made it worse, was that you were also tearing up over there. So
I'm sorry, but we know this.
I know.
I'm a sympathy crier. It happens.
I know. Somebody out there is crying with us.
Someone is. We know our sympathy criers. We're getting them.
But no, I do feel better.
Good.
And I think this also then speaks to our topic of friendship and having somebody who will challenge you and ask you the hard question and not just be like, no, girl, you got it.
You got it. And you're like, that's it.
I don't think I got it at all. Like, so maybe we should need to talk more about it.
But you do. But it's also like, no, let's sit in this. And I can honestly say, it's interesting to, speaking of that friendship and sitting in that uncomfortableness with someone else and who you could potentially take some life experience from, to say like, oh, nope, I've sat there.
Yeah.
I'll wallow with you because it sucks.
Yeah.
To have a partner to wallow with is really important.
Yeah.
And to have that.
I don't want to burden my husband with all of it all the time.
Yeah, they got to deal with me all the time.
Yeah. This is why we need friends. This
is why you need friends to help with, because yes, my husband would get real sick of me. I think he already gets sick of me a lot. So I need somebody else to deal with my shenanigans.
Oh. So yeah, I think those were the main points we were going to bring up. Okay. I guess what we've learned, or some action points, are really just that it's okay if you are struggling with whatever. These are just examples of potential struggles, but that there's a season for everything. And when it's hard, it's a great time to pray.
It's a great time
to go bring that to God and just let him know your insecurities and your worries and your fears. Also giving him praise for all the great things that are happening too.
Exactly. And, again, even if you are in this low season, you weren't in it forever. You weren't in it for always. And you're coming out of it.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
All right. So something good. And so my good thing, I have to, again, go back to this Disney trip we were just on. So when we were down there, my best friend from junior high and her husband came and hung out with us, which was great.
Yes.
Absolutely loved that. They're Disney adults, so they were all about it.
They have the Disney book.
Yes. So I got to see her for an extended period of time, which was awesome. We also had a friend of my daughter's from daycare. They were randomly down there the same week at the same resort. Okay. So we got to hang out with them and swim for a couple hours on one of the days. So that was just like, your little bestie in Disney. She loved that. And then we got to see also Mark and his family. So we're in Mark's studio right now of Lux Digital Church. So his family was down in Disney as well. And we got to hang out with them after the Stitch breakfast.
Yeah.
Who also, then there was another family from our church down there.
Oh, really?
Too. Crip, I think. He sings on the worship team sometimes. Yeah. So his family was down there too. So there were just like so many people that we like randomly knew.
Wow.
In Disney.
And Disney of all places.
Right. So I was like, this is great.
Yes.
It was fun getting to see everybody, and
got
some cute pictures of the kids for when they're older to look back. Hopefully they're still friends later on. We'll make them be friends.
We'll make them be friends. Yeah. No, that's awesome. My oldest son, so he's now in our elementary school for our district, and their big fundraiser for their school is they basically get sponsors for, it's called Laps for Learning, where they walk laps around the track, and they get people to donate money to them depending on how much they do. So I went to be there because you have to be with your kid and all of this stuff, because it's pandemonium, really.
Right.
It was nuts. We'll talk about this, but So my oldest son, the friends that he had made, he had one really, really good friend that he had been in class with for the last couple of years. And she's just a sweet, kind girl. And this year for school, they are in opposite pods. So he doesn't see her at all. And I was walking into the bleachers and she like called his name, and they had like they like a little snack meal before they started walking laps. And they sat and hung out and just like talked, because my oldest is actually kind of a pretty quiet, reserved kid. So like to see him interact with like a friend of his at school was just like just mama warming. And he hadn't seen her all summer, hadn't seen her since the end of school last year. And so he has like all of his friends from soccer and stuff were all there in his grade, and they were all kind of like walking and running laps together, and he walked all of his laps with her. And at one point they stopped and got a snack. Like he got Swedish Fish and she got Skittles. I come to find out they swapped half bags with each other as they were continuing to walk. And it just was like, oh, buddy, like, you know, like he could have hung out. He could have gone with his buddies. He could have whatever. But he like spent the afternoon with his friend because he hadn't seen her. And it just like that, just pure friendship. It just was so awesome to see. And it just made my mama heart pretty proud. And I hadn't seen, I've come to know her the last couple of years, you know, at school events. And so it was really good to see her, but it just made my mama heart proud. So I
saw that it rained.
It did. We left. It like looked like it was literally like gonna storm, and I was like, okay, we're done. Like, because my youngest was there too, and he's like, I'm all done.
I'm over it. Yeah.
And so but friends of ours stayed through the rain, and some of them ended up like walking like
11 some miles,
40 some miles. Another kid on our soccer team, so the track record,
40 some laps,
which ended up being like 11 miles. Another kid on our soccer team, so the lap record was 68 laps, which is like 17 miles. A kid on our soccer team ran 70 laps, which is 17 and a half miles. We have soccer practice tonight. We will see if he is there.
Oh my gosh.
Because I'm sure he's sore.
That's almost a marathon.
That's almost,
man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But it was pretty cool. I mean, it's a wild event. Wild. But yeah, did my mama heart proud. So
awesome. Yeah. All right, well, I'll end in prayer.
Okay, I think it's a great idea.
Okay. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the woman listening to this podcast, and pray over her that she may feel your love and kindness and your closeness, especially if she is going through a hard time, but also even if she feels like she is in a calm season. We pray that your nearness is always something that we are able to feel. Lord, I thank you for my friendship with Erin, that she can challenge me and so speak some of your truth into me when it is harder for me to do that for myself. And I pray that everyone listening to this podcast may find a friend in their life that is able to be that grounding source for them as well. And Lord, I just continue to pray over this podcast that it reaches the people who need to hear it, and that it continues to be a positive thing in many people's lives. Amen.
Amen.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.